Hello, everybody. Oh, I didn't know you were.
How is everyone? Welcome.
You took a second, so I didn't know if you were doing the intro or you wanted me to do it.
I'm Allison. Welcome to my weekly Meltdowns coverage of Big Brother All-Stars. Our special guest tonight is the Fly Swatter.
Yes, the Fly Swatter is making all the rounds this week.
Fly Swatter has been a part of this show since the beginning, and we'll get Fly Swatter's, opinion later on stuff. He was busy last night. There was a fly he couldn't catch. He's a little exhausted, but he's going to be all right.
I love the idea that the Fly Swatter's feeling defeated after not doing its job last night.
He didn't do it. Listen, all I know is if that fly laid eggs in Pence's hair, he better let him come to term.
Amen to that.
I don't want to hear "come to term" and Pence in the same statement.
Okay.
True. Yeah. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to my weekly meltdown. Here we are once again to talk about some really riveting television here.
So riveting.
Yeah. I mean, I legit forgot that there was even an episode last night until
I did too.
It was
I remembered, I just didn't care to watch it.
It was 7:55, and I was like, man, the debates don't start till 9. Like, what am I gonna do for the next hour? And then I was like, oh wait, Big Brother's on. Duh.
Yeah, I think I was picking a booger in my nose and rolling it around, and I was like, oh, and what am I supposed to be doing? Oh, Big Brother's on.
Did that booger remind you of the season?
Kind of. Yeah.
Is it Christmas or is it Tyler?
I'm
seriously.
telling you, worship. I haven't been watching live feeds lately, so I didn't know really who was going to go home tonight. So I'm kind of glad I don't know. I'm glad to see Tyler go. But that's just me.
Do you guys think they made the right decision?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Get rid of a big strategic, social, and physical threat, or Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Watch this bitch win frickin' HOH. Just watch. It's gonna happen.
Listen, as I said, she is the lone person in my draft, and for that reason, I will only root for her to make it. I can't even say that. I can't even say it because I don't want her to win so bad.
It's like she's the husband. How? I never would have thought in a million years looking at that draft that Christmas would still be there.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that, watching that jury segment, talking about Nicole, Kevin was like, well, if she makes it to final 2, even if she hasn't done anything, she made it to final 2. I'll be very disappointed if she makes it to, well, we're already disappointed. But I'd be very disappointed if Nicole makes it to final 2 and wins when she's done absolutely nothing but make who farted faces all season.
Yep. But Allison, I don't think you have to worry. Honestly, I think that Nicole is going this week, unless she wins HOH. But I don't see that happening.
If Enzo wins, she's not going. I think that if Memphis where she is, if Christmas wins, she could. But I really, honestly, it's going to come down to who are the people voting this week. Actually, is what it's going to come down to. Even if she's up on the block, if she's up on the block with Christmas, and Memphis is HOH, that's 2 votes for Nicole to stay.
Mm-hmm.
So it all comes down to how the math turns out. Because I think Enzo and Cody want to keep her around. I don't think that they see any point to getting rid of her.
I'm very fangry with Enzo.
Fangry?
Fangry. That means effing angry.
Thank you. For those of us who didn't understand the Southern.
Fangry. I'm fangry because he did a lot of talking and he didn't do crap. And here we sit. And the people in the chat are talking about it. I mean, he did. And they noticed it in the jury. So, I mean, you can't amp people up and then, yes, you can. Who are we kidding? You can do anything you want in the Big Brother house. You could be racist and stupid and everything else, and you can still be in the Big Brother house.
I'm sorry. as far as I'm aware, apparently you can't be black and
no, you can't be a color.
You can't be anything.
Sorry, I forgot
that's
that.
not a white, specifically white male, but you could be a white female. It go far in this. Just put it out there.
Fly swatter.
By the way, that is me just saying for the record, like I side with those. That didn't come out in a great way, I realized. I meant to say, like, apparently you can't do those things because, like, casting and production will never make it in your favor. Yeah. That's what I meant by that.
Well, do y'all have any questions for our guest, Fly Swatter?
Fly Swatter. Where were you earlier in this season just to hit the shit? I mean, the flies on the shit. Like, I really feel like you could have been around and just gotten everybody into shape.
Because that's an awful lot of shit that you know how much shit. I have been busy. I've been so fast you couldn't even see me. That's how much shit I've been chasing around. Then I get the shit on me, and that's not fun. And I got to deal with this bitch, Allison. What the hell do you think happened? What that's like?
Can I just say, this is a really creepy voice, Allison.
I don't know if this is some like sick like Halloween prank or something.
Yeah, really. Like, I'm just saying that I think that it's a little scary to have this kind of voice, and that Allison's over here.
Listen, I'm busy all the time.
You know what? You sound like Sam. That's what it is.
Do you know what it is? Last night, I was like a crackhead, just feeding because I couldn't get to that fly on TV, and Mama was swinging at it. And I'm like, Mama, you know I can't get to that fly on that man's head. What's wrong with you?
This is 100% Sam from BB20 right now.
Definitely.
That's exactly what that voice is. You have just found the Sam from BB20 voice.
Well, I just want to say before I go that Cody's going to win. And, you know, Mama was doing a lot of creepy things during the episode the other night, watching Cody get undressed during that veto competition that we won't talk about, but she thoroughly enjoyed it. Woo, buddy, I enjoyed it too. I was sure to find him. I would have found a way to get it off.
Can't deal with you.
Okay? Any other questions?
I can't deal.
Okay.
This is cursed. This is cursed.
Okay. Let's talk about the episode. Let's get this back on track. So a lot of people in the comments, they're talking about the jury segment, and I feel like we got a really good, we got 2 whole segments in the show tonight, and I think that goes to show like how little stuff is happening in the actual house, and how like we really need to shift our attention to what the jury is thinking at this moment. And what really surprised me is how much Danny was really burying Nicole's game. You know, I really expected her to kind of go in there and defend her, given like how close they were in the house. But Danny's like, no, she's playing an awful game. What'd you guys think about that?
She'd know.
Yeah. Go ahead, Beth.
No, I was just gonna say she'd know better than anybody else. Honestly, I mean, she feels like I'm very disappointed in Danny in terms of like not just being able to see the writing on the wall. Like, you have to know that as 2 of the 3 girls remaining, that the 2 of you are clearly good friends, that you would end up on the block together, and you have to know that you're the bigger threat, especially if you're like very well aware of like how poor of a game that Nicole is playing. Yeah. And the fact that she thought that she was closer to Cody than Nicole, like how?
Yeah, how?
It really sucks because
really
like she's totally snowed, and like I feel like she's like one step there because she said that she's like upset, she's crying, like she feels betrayed. But she sucks because like she's totally snowed, and like I think we had an audio.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, cool. But no, she's totally snowed because she still thinks that it's just Tyler and Christmas that wanted her out. And like Tyler Wolfong said, it's going to be hard for Danny to realize she was at the bottom for weeks. She's going to have another wake up call, like once she's out of jury, and realize like it didn't matter who won that HOH. Danny would have gone home in a unanimous vote if she didn't win that veto. And it sucks. And I feel like she's going to really have a hard time getting over that once she's done with the season. And it's going to hurt, and it's going to be really embarrassing because she really takes this game seriously. And what sucks also is that like Davon and Ian were really rooting for Danny in the jury. Like they said that she was playing a really great game. So I feel like if she just made it like a little bit further, she could have really been sitting pretty in the final too.
I think that it would have been better for her to understand a few weeks ago that she really needed some of those outside people in order to make herself go farther. But instead, she continued just to play into the majority alliance's hands, and that just doesn't make good gameplay. I'm sorry, like. If you need to recognize where your position is, and it's a hard thing to do, but if you know where your position is in a game, you instantly have a better read on everybody else and their intentions. That's what makes good game players. Yeah. Game players that know where they are in the house are good game players. I don't care if they're on the bottom. If they know they're on the bottom, they try to make the moves to get themselves out of that position. If they don't know they're on the bottom and they go, that's not a good game player. I'm sorry. And I think in this situation, I think that what's going to be unfortunate for Danny, to your point, is that it sounded like she was very happy with the game that she played. She thought it was the best game she'd ever played. And I think that she's in for a rude awakening to see just that she honestly was outplayed by people who had stronger pre-game alliances than she did to those other people.
It's weird to see some emotion in her. Like her fighting back tears, because you're not used to seeing that with Danny. She's just kind of, she and Memphis are both that stone cold kind of face. You know what I'm saying? So to see her get, because you know how much this game means to her, and you know she played it with her estranged father. I mean, this is a lot. A lot for her, and to go out the way she did, being a true all-star and going out that way, I could definitely understand her frustration. I do like how in the jury segment they were giving David crap about the $10,000.
Yeah, only Ian was like, I get it.
Here's the thing: you were put up on the block every single week. You have limited to no people left in the game that genuinely want to keep you. Why not go for the extra cash? I totally get it. I don't care. Like, it would have been a great move if he had just been able to try to stick with it and get Cody out, win the veto. Absolutely. But how much time does he really have in this house theoretically?
Right.
Not much.
Exactly. If it's not that week, it's going to be the next week. And like this hypothetical game where like David wins the veto and Christmas goes up and goes home. I'm sorry, that's not happening. Like Kevin is still going home. And it's literally the same exact result like through the rest of that triple eviction.
Oh my God, like that's even a joke, hypothetical. David wins HOH. Shut up. No, he's not going to win. Nicole's not going to win HOH. My God.
I don't know. If of all the comps, I feel like this is the one that Nicole could win. I think this favors people who have a lower center of gravity, who aren't going to be able to rock the boat as much with that paddle. So she could win tonight. I don't know.
That makes me think we're about to get a Christmas HOH.
No shit. We're about to get, I'm sorry, y'all. I've got Finley down here being needy. He's been sick this week. Y'all need a Finley update. He has a UTI and I had to take him to the vet, and he's on antibiotics, and he's just sitting here staring up at me. He wants to jump up here, but
yeah, I've been very worried the whole week about Finley. So
I can tell.
Thank you for the update. Jen Craig says, much love to you three in the chat. Love you guys. You do so much for my mental health. Thank you. That's such a sweet comment. I just wanted to point that out.
You guys do wonders for our mental health.
Yeah,
that's 100% accurate. Whether sometimes we're very forthright about how we're feeling and our mental health and such on the show, and other times we're not. But what is consistent across the board is how much our audience and our viewers give us strength on a daily basis. So thank you all so much for everything you guys do for us.
I would be a basket case.
I can confirm. No,
this would be me every day. The week that I've had, you two know. It's been a week, man.
It has been a week.
It's been a week. It's been a week. A really crazy week.
So I want to point out like a few more notes I have from like the jury segment, because I really feel like we got a lot. I think that Enzo is on the down. I really like a lot of the jury was saying they didn't respect Enzo for not flipping to take out Nicole, and we were saying this last week. So the fact that this is being echoed like in jury, it's not good for his game, and I feel like he hasn't won any completely.
That could change with Tyler coming to jury and telling them a little bit more about Enzo's positioning, because I think that if he had flipped to take out Nicole, that messes up his entire game. We're not at the point in the jury where I think people are going to understand and respect the kind of game he's played until it plays out, to be honest with you. Yeah. This isn't a game that's rootable until you say, holy shit, his whole plan came together. If it doesn't come together, that's what's risky about playing kind of a floater type game like he is, where you float to power. I mean, like the traditional meaning of floater, not the Rachel Riley meaning of a floater, which I call a coaster.
Yeah.
But
I did like Memphis's jury management though. So like one of the first segments that we saw tonight, he legit tells Tyler, I'm planning on voting you out. It's just because you're a threat. It's just because you're a good player. That's debatable. But that's good jury management. I mean, Davon said earlier in the season, better to be stabbed in the front than in the back. And I think that Tyler is one that like will respect that. I think Tyler will like that compliment on the way out the door. And I think that he's going to go to the jury and say, like, Memphis is playing like just like a straight up game. And he's not like overcomplicating it. And he's winning a lot of comps, making a lot of good decisions, making like a lot of really good positioning choices to get himself even further in the game. And it sounds like he's really dead set on Enzo being his final two partner. And I'm starting to lean towards maybe Memphis wins that. I don't know. Memphis and Enzo final two, yeah.
Well, that sounds a little familiar, doesn't it? I don't know where that could have come from. Look,
I don't know either. Maybe we read it on like a banner somewhere. I don't know.
Somewhere. I've been saying it from the beginning. Memphis is
I'm a little upset that banner is not updated, Tyler.
Why are we not updated?
It's a lot of Photoshop work to get them like the text away.
No. There was one specific one that came from last week that we were supposed to put on for this week.
What was it? Trump has COVID?
It was supposed to be Josh gave Trump COVID.
And we don't have it. And when you're putting together the thumbnails for this show, that should be your second priority.
Yes. Come on, Tyler.
The banner.
I'm a busy guy, okay? And my photoshopping skills only go so far. But yeah, that's as Tyler slacking eviction.
You want me to update the banner?
Sure, with your like pic collage.
You shut the fuck up. I am damn good at pig collage. I could teach elderly people how to use pig collage.
Yeah, we love pig collage here.
That's the most patronizing. Yeah. Almost as patronizing as how many times did Cody go, yeah.
Oh, like.
Yeah.
The count last night was hilarious. Also,
guys, I've learned when this is Cody's tell from here on out, y'all. Seriously, if he goes, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, the tongue! The tongue, yes.
What is it with the tongue? He puts the tongue on this. I can't do it. He almost does like he does it like, almost like a slightly sexy, charismatic kind of way. But he goes
like that.
But every time he did that, he was saying it to somebody where he was like, I want them to feel like I'm on their side. But he never did it to like Enzo, who he was totally with. I caught that.
I mean, Cody really thinks that he's like the most entitled man like on this earth. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like his body language when he was like talking to Enzo about like, oh, like maybe we should flip and take Christmas out. Like, and then he said in the diary room, he's like, if I want Christmas gone, all I have to do is snap my fingers and it happens. And I'm like, you are not God's gift to this earth or this game. Neither is Derek.
You don't vote. Sorry about it.
Right. Exactly.
You can try to influence people, but they're going to go for what's best for their game. So
yeah. So I don't know. I don't like it. And I feel like everybody in the house, like once they get to jury, they don't like it either. I really don't think that, like I keep hearing podcasts where like everybody's talking about like Cody's this amazing player. He's going to win this season. He has it on wrap, but I really think that he's going to struggle in the jury section. I really, really do.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think what's going to happen, and this is what I mean, like
especially after Nicole's gone next week.
Well, it all depends on who leaves, right?
Stop fooling yourself.
It all depends on who's leaving and what they're bringing to jury. So Tyler, let's talk about Tyler's away messages for a second, because a lot of information was spilled to him that he's going to bring back to jury. So he learned that Memphis had these 2 final threes that both had Enzo and him in it. He learned that Cody had 3 different final 2s, all those different kinds of things. And so the double dipping that he's talking about, he's going to bring that back to the jury house, which is going to simultaneously piss Danny off about Cody even more. And I also think that it's going to raise people's ideas about Memphis and Enzo's gameplay. Now, what they're not going to get unless Enzo or Cody get to the jury is how awful actually Memphis's plan was, because everybody but Christmas, which is not surprising, could see right through what he was trying to do. So, which helps because Enzo and Cody were so close. So that is something that if Enzo wants to win, Cody's got to be on that jury. If Cody wants to win, Enzo's got to be on that jury. It does not behoove them to sit next to each other at all. It behooves them to bring Nicole or Christmas to the end. So if they're smart, if Memphis doesn't win this week, they take out Memphis.
So many people in the chat are saying like Danny's going to have like an even bigger fit when Tyler comes and like spills all this info. I think it's true. I mean, she said tonight, I feel more betrayed than I ever have been in this game. And I think that poisoning is, I think that we're really looking at a bitter jury here. And it's only going to get worse as it gets more personal as we're getting closer to the end. You know, how is Nicole going to feel when they go bros before hoes, you know?
Right.
It's we're in for a wild ride. And Christmas, she says on her way out, she says, this is the best top 6 of all time. What do we think about
that?
Sick of her. God bless. Like, she's just too happy. It's like Memphis and all of them were saying, like, she's too comfortable. She's too happy. You know, and she's running around after she's been nominated happy and crap because she's so convinced she's not going home. And she didn't, and that's whatever. But I loved it in the episode tonight when Tyler flat out asked Memphis, are you voting me out? And he's like, yeah, I'm leaving. That's what I love about Memphis. You know, I think Matthew Henning, you said in the chat that might be his undoing. I don't know. If somebody's flat out honest with me, it may piss me off. But at least they were honest about it, and they stabbed me in the front and not in the back.
I think Memphis's age really helps him with this kind of tactic, right? Like he's like the like old like stubborn man in the house. Like of course it's relative to Big Brother.
He's scary.
Yeah, but like he's gonna be yeah, exactly.
I bet he is Jerry now. Look, I said it before. The older people we're not worried about all that other shit.
I like that Allison said we're as if like you're like an old person. You're not.
I'm the same age as Memphis.
Don't look at honey. You could get away with saying like you're 22 and people.
Let's not get started on what I had done to my face today, y'all. Don't. I get married at the end of the month. I had to have some shit done to my face today, and it's tight as a tick on a 10-day suck. It is about $2.
I've never heard that phrase before. Tight as a tick on a 10-day suck.
We've never been in the deep south, honey.
Oh no, I have not. I mean, I have. But I never heard that phrase.
But I wanted to compare, because Christmas says this is the best top 6 of all time, right? And this is a Big Brother All-Star season. So I wanted to compare this top 6 to Big Brother 7's top 6 to kind of go pound for pound and see if Christmas is right. So
that was the All-Stars.
Yes,
right?
That was Big Brother 7 All-Stars. So in this final 6, we have Tyler, Christmas, Cody, Enzo, Nicole, and Memphis. Compare that to we have Danielle Reyes, Chicken George, Dr. Will, Janelle, Erica, and Mike Bookie. So say what you will, but Christmas, I think that you're wrong there. I think, I mean, just like the delusions with this woman are insane.
Christmas has not seen this show, Tyler. She's like been on 2 seasons and she's watched maybe another one. She does not know this show.
Do you think when Dr. Will showed up in the robe, she was like, "Who's that old man?"
Yes.
Is that Jerry?
No, that's not true. She would have been like, "Wasn't that the person at the jury roundtable from my season that I didn't get to be a part of because I got third place?"
Yeah.
Can we address that real quick? What a waste. What another damn. This has got to be in the top two dumbest twist dumb shit I've ever seen with the Dr. Will neighbor crap.
Video to do.
It's stupid. They made it sound like it was going to be this big thing. All he did was show up and go, don't just one time or think about it twice. You're going to do 3 steps behind. That's it. There's nothing else now.
Yeah.
They made it sound like this. We got like somebody moving in. I mean, I can't even talk. It's so dumb.
Well, what's weird is like they even like mentioned it in the jury segment. They're like, and then Dr. Will came to the house, and Davon was like, "Whoa, that's crazy!" And we're like, "Okay, but he did nothing."
He did come to the house. You know,
he did nothing and probably got $50,000. So
yeah, exactly.
I don't even know where that was really
filmed.
Nothing. He ain't staying up in there. No, he's not. Don't even get me started. That is so dumb.
Yeah. Also, we got another. Julie Chen said for the second time on live television, "I love God," and I'm like,
"What is this, Julie? Are you trying to impress people? I don't get it."
Look, I love God. I love Jesus, and I'm a Christian, and I do this shit, but I don't sit here and talk about it all day long.
Have you guys got into praying in the Chen Moonves house because you're praying that your husband's not going to be locked away for the rest of his life?
Probably.
Did you notice tonight how she was a little hesitant with her married name? I don't know if anybody knows. I'm Julie Chen Moonves. It was almost like I'm Julie Chen Moonves. It was like she forgot.
Julie, next time, just go like this if you need help.
What is I love God the new butt first? What does that mean?
So Julie always says "but first." There's
first.
like a whole touch of it.
I love that.
The butt with 2 T's threw me the F off right there. I just was like,
Julie Chen, butt first.
Like she's like twerking into a room, butt first.
Oh, speaking of Julie, I want to know, was that dress that she had on, did she get that from the Tractor Supply store clearance rack or Walmart?
I loved that dress.
I did not.
I loved it. I actually was sitting there and I was like, it's one of those dresses that like, I like when you look at her all together, I was like, nice. But when you started to pick apart little aspects of it, I was like, oh, maybe not. But I loved how she looked in it mostly. And it was one of those things that in my head, I was like, stop complimenting her. You don't like her. It's like literally.
To me, it was a little like Nicole's like seasonal outfits.
It looks like something Nicole Franzel would be wearing when she comes out with the confetti this season when she wins.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, she was dressed like freaking Beverly Hillbilly chick when she won her season in her little red, picnic table out romper.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Okay, so so Tyler is gone. How do we feel about him this season compared to Big Brother 20?
I think got his ass kicked this season. I think he really learned how Big Brother works because he wasn't riding on the coattails of other people. I think he's mentally and physically effed up from this season. I'm not saying that's a good thing, but I think he got his ass handed to him. This is how Big Brother is played. This is what other people were experiencing on your season. Okay.
And they took it a lot better than he did.
Right. And now you know what it feels like.
Yeah.
So I can appreciate that he is a good player by recent season standards. He's a really good player. He played with a really weak cast, in my opinion. A lot of people say that BB20 is a good season. I hated it. I thought it was stupid. It was one-sided. It was boring. There really wasn't much to root for except for the underdogs that kept screwing each other over. And so for Tyler, and then it ended like, I would have been mad if Tyler won just because it would have been so boring. So the fact that Casey won, I was actually kind of like, all right, I'm kind of here for it. But also, like, I don't like Casey as a winner either, personally. So I found Tyler to be problematic because he got a big head in BB20. As the weeks went on, his head got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's where you started to see the cockiness of the I don't need your vote, Bailey, which is why that was actually the best moment of the season is when he lost because of Bailey's vote. Like, that's the best. But he did a lot of gaslighting of people in that season. And we saw that again this season. I will never respect him until he acknowledges this and hopefully grows from this experience about, first of all, gaslighting two Black women in the house, promising them that he's going to try to put himself up to be evicted, taking that back and then not telling them that that's going to be what happens. And then the veto's not used and one of the two have to go home. And like masking that all as some kind of Black Lives Matter movement. No, sir, you are no kind of ally or advocate. You were simply trying to take advantage and earn sympathy from people at home and come across as if you're some great guy. And now I don't doubt that you were a great guy in real life, but that was the shittiest fucking thing that has happened on this season, bar none. And the fact that like that is going to be a part of your legacy is something that you have to deal with from here on out. So no, I would say that what we saw was another growth of the gaslighting and the big headedness that we saw in BB20. And it didn't work out for him this time because he played with a better caliber of player. And that's really saying something for this season.
Man, you guys are speaking my love language right now. I totally agree with everything that both of you guys said. I mean, and what drives me nuts is like the mist is still so real with some of these fans with him. It's insane. I mean, that segment where he was talking to Memphis about his dad, that was like totally like America's favorite player, like edit for him. Even though Beth, like you're totally right. He wanted to quit the game. And this is who somebody like everybody on Reddit is saying is like a top 5 player in Big Brother history. Like, please go back and watch old seasons if you think that he's anywhere near like the top 15 or 20.
He thanked Angela for the first night best 94 days from season 20.
Yep.
What? What are you talking about, Tyler? Not you, Tyler, but you know.
Yeah, Tyler, what are you talking about?
What are you talking about, man?
Tyler,
but I agree. I think that like this season really hurt his legacy and really didn't do anything to really solidify him as a good player of this game. I said it last week I said this when we talked with Alex Kidwell on Sunday show. What did I say last week after the triple eviction was over? I said Tyler's going to regret that he sent Danny out the door because she is a giant meat shield in front of him. And look at where we are now. He is the first one out after he's gone. Yeah, they used him to do their dirty work, and now that they're done with him, and they're just going to call him like a good competitor, and Tyler's just going to like eat that up instead of understanding like I actually did not do a good job like all season long.
If I were Tyler last week, what I would have done is put up like Nicole and Memphis, put those two up. Somebody wins the veto, throw in somebody that you know is not going to get voted out. Because you're already in a precarious enough position. You should be able to see that you are not going to get your way and that you need to be able to reel in Danny to say, I saved your ass. We need to work together.
Yeah. We have a really good question from Pokemon. Is it fair to say Nicole is a better player than Tyler? I think she is. What do you guys think?
They're very different players.
They're two. It's kind of hard to compare the two.
I don't like saying which players are better than others, and because it's all situational. It's all how they work, right? So Tyler's a very manipulative player. He's really good at taking social relationships and then being able to tell people what they want to hear in order to get them on their side. Nicole is a manipulative player in the sense that she's really good at saying, I will do whatever you want me to do, and I'm loyal to you, and I'm going to play the innocent girl card, and especially if you're a guy, I'm going to work with you. And both are effective strategies as proven, but it's really hard. I think that Tyler plays a better, more overt game because he talks about a lot of it in the diary room. So it's so much easier to see where his intentions and moves are. Nicole doesn't own it. So, but Nicole does make headway she just doesn't have flashy moves like Tyler does, but she has her subliminal social moves that get people to go, you know what, it's not worth taking Nicole out here, let's take out X. It's not worth getting so-and-so here, Nicole's going to vote with us. Like, so they're two very different things. I think that Nicole's strategy is going to prove to bring her farther along in this game. So I would edge her out over Tyler, but I wouldn't pretend like Tyler's like that she's beating him by a landslide, in my opinion.
So I think my first reaction to that question is I look at both of them in their final two situations, and I feel like both Big Brother 18 and Big Brother 20 voted in a very like bitter jury way. Nicole was on the winning side of that. Tyler is on the losing side of that. I think both players are really great at adapting and getting far in the game, no matter like how the game is like shaken out. But my money is on Nicole because like she did win that jury vote at the end. We haven't seen that from Tyler, and she's made it further this season when both of them are in the game together. So I think it's Nicole.
She insulated herself better, but she also hasn't proven herself to be a kind of threat on anyone's radar, which is what her game is always about, is not making her a threat, even though she really is one. Tyler is just such an overt threat that, like, he's just out in front.
Yeah, she's not a threat hold on a second. Okay, the thing about it is he's a comp threat and all that, and she's still a threat even though she hasn't won any comps. She's a mental threat. Like you said, she can work it when she needs to.
Yeah.
So
the fact that they both are very good at getting people to think that they're very close, like you're my number one, and then they can backstab you. They're both good at that, and I give them both props because that is something that a lot of players in any kind of social strategy game have a really hard time doing it. We see it in Sequester, we see it in Survivor, we see it in Big Brother, we see it in Orgs, we see it all over the place. It is really hard to turn against somebody that you've been working with throughout an entire game, that you have a genuine friendship with, that you have a connection with. That is emotionally hard to do, but both of them know how to turn it off and turn it on for the gameplay.
Right.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into our drafts that we have. So, Beth, this is it's looking really rough.
Golf rules, right? Lowest score. That's what we're like.
But like we said, congrats on Nicole for finally getting her first point of the season during the triple eviction. Really bringing in those points there with Nicole. So there's that, and then Alex is the first one to finally be completely out of the season. It's kind of cool that like we got to final 6 before like a whole team was eliminated. So
it wasn't looking good for me for a very long time. But
I don't get that one bit. How that bitch is still in there, I will never. I'm sorry, Jesus.
Who, Christmas?
Yes, not Beth.
I didn't know if you meant Christmas or Nicole, not Beth.
Well, yeah, Nicole, I don't do whatever. I'm just talking about Team Beth. I don't know how Christmas is still there.
I like the idea that she was talking about me. I don't know how that bitch is still in there.
I don't know. This bitch is going to horse the dog in this fight.
That's hysterical.
So yeah, we'll see who goes next, but there's just a little update there too.
Oh, God, that's funny.
I mean, now that the season's winding down, how are we feeling about this season compared to some of the other like lower tier seasons? Because that's where I think I'm placing it. But I'm questioning, like, is this better than Big Brother 19? Is this better than Big Brother 9? Like those are the questions I'm answering, or I'm asking myself. What do you guys think?
Better than 19.
Well, anything's better. Listen, Big Brother has taken a nosedive over the last half a decade. Okay, let's just be real. It has taken just a nosedive into a big pile of that. You know the movie Jurassic Park, and they come across that big pile of dinosaur shit, and Jeff Goldblum is like, that's a big pile of shit. That's what Big Brother has taken a nosedive into, a gigantic Jurassic Park sized turd. Okay, it is that bad. I mean, it is, and this, believe it or not, I'm I'm okay with all-stars this year. I know a lot of people aren't on the, but compared to past seasons, it's a lot better. I think that it's kind of hard in the old days. People really played like they're playing in this season. You could take all-stars off of this season, and this could be easily a Big Brother 5 or 6, or you know what I'm saying? Like it just has changed so much. Now we're influencers on there, people who've never seen the game, whatever. And actually somebody made the comment a while back, and I've been meaning to address this. Well, Allison, you were a recruit for Sequester. That is true. The first time I played, I was a recruit and I didn't know what Sequester was. However, I covered reality shows. I covered Big Brother. I covered Survivor. I knew strategy games. And when I looked up Sequester, I had an idea of what it was. I wasn't flashing my titties and my ass around on Instagram.
Well, you were, but that wasn't the reason why they went.
Yeah, that's a private account. That's a private account. That's
for OnlyFans.
That's right. Anyway, that's Patreon. But anyway, the thing about it is, that's, I had an idea after the fact. Okay. So y'all can shush that.
Yeah, I mean, there is such a thing as a good recruit.
Yeah.
I don't want to shut the door on like having any recruits in the house, because I do think it's a good thing. But they have to be cast right. Like they have to be people who are willing to do whatever it takes to win the game. And I wonder if Dr. Will, instead of offering money, if he offered followers, how many more people would have gone for those prizes? You know what I mean?
Seriously, like I think about that a lot. And everyone, I mean, if you've been in our community for a while, I am not the Big Brother expert. I see what I see in the games and with the games I've watched. I can't make comparisons. I don't know all the history of the game. I kind of judge off of what I see. I've only seen, the oldest season I've seen is Big Brother 10, and then I've seen BB 15 onwards. Okay, so I've seen the trash seasons and then Big Brother 10.
Yeah.
And what we saw in Big Brother 10, from what I understood, was a whole bunch of recruits in that season who came to play. Like Keisha was a recruit.
Exactly. Yeah.
And if we didn't even get a chance to see Keisha really in this season, it would have been great to see her coming back as somebody who has an understanding of the game to play. BB17, which in my opinion is still, like, I'm obviously very biased about BB17, but I truly believe it's the best modern season, because even though it had recruits in the game, you had recruits like Becky, who was adamant about trying to get Vanessa out and then just couldn't make it happen. She follows the next week.
Yeah. I mean, she's done with Black Friday. She can deal with anything.
Seriously. She got hit by a train, and that's the kind of girl I want on my team.
Yeah.
That was my favorite thing that Jackie ever said.
Yeah. Somebody said, "Can you imagine if we got Becky instead of Christmas? At least we would get the train sound instead of
the jingles."
A lot of people are talking about Big Brother 17. They're like that. And that was a good season. I will say. Good. Yeah.
It was a great season. It had entertaining feeds, people on all sides of the power that were trying to make moves. It had people that were rootable on all sides. They had people who you didn't like on all sides. You had drama, but it wasn't ever in a hateful way. It wasn't derogatory. It was,
the most fun game.
It was fun. The most derogatory thing that happened was in the first week, where everybody thought that Jace was coming after Steven.
Yeah, that's right.
It wasn't, and Steven was like, I don't care. It was fine. So from here on out, that really wasn't a bad season in any capacity. And I remember at the time, a lot of people were shitting on it because they didn't get the result they wanted. The people that they liked, like Meg and James and such, got out earlier, and Jackie, they had to be stuck with Austin and the twins. But even that was a wonderful dynamic to see, is what's Vanessa going to do with these different groups? Then you had Johnny and Steven, and you didn't know what was going to happen. There were so many elements to that just depended on how people were feeling in the moment, and things kept changing throughout the week. We have not had a week like that this season. We have not had a week. That is so boring. And for an all-star season, I expect better.
Mm. Yep. And the delusion is so real, right? Like these people, Christmas especially, really thinks that
America's favorite player.
Oh my
exactly. God. She has America's favorite player on lock because she's saying that to Nicole.
I saw on Twitter that production is leading her to believe that she's
Wow, production
America's
wants to be literally murdered after this. That's
Dude,
great.
she will run a car up your ass.
So
She sure will.
if I were to guess, I would think
That's
production.
a joke.
I think production is like trying to bury Christmas as this like delusional, like no way she has like any grasp on reality. So if that's what they're doing, if they're like feeding her this bullshit of like America loves you so much Christmas, like think about how much they loved Big Brother 19. They're gonna love you even more this season.
100%.
Keep feeding that to her, because then at least like I would rather like be really angry and like tweeting about how much I hate Christmas than being indifferent about her. So at least there's that, you know. It's more fun to like actively be rooting against somebody than just being like whatever, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
I can't wait for when they go and the top 3 vote getters for America's favorite player, and she's not in that top 3. I want the camera to pan right to her face.
who do we think's gonna be in that top 3?
Janelle, Davon, Kaser.
I think it'll be Janelle, Davon, and Tyler. And I think Davon will get it.
I personally will be voting for Davon. I'm not saying this as a means to influence anybody, but if you don't vote for Davon, I will slap you. No, I'm just kidding.
She'll commit violence.
I mean, I will say it.
I'll go all Christmas on your ass. I will run a car over you.
Yeah. And you know what that means.
It means I'll be on the next All-Star season.
They kicked a guy off season 2 for holding a knife to a woman's throat. And if you go back and watch that in season 2, just go back and watch it. Okay. They were drunk. He wasn't, it was not what, you know, but you can let a woman on the show who ran over her baby's daddy with the car when she was drunk. I think she was drunk. I don't know. But anyway.
I just checked the feeds just to make sure that these weren't up or anything. So again, like we don't know who the HOH is. I really think it's probably going to be Christmas. In all honesty, like you said about like the lower center of gravity, and I think that she can beat Nicole like easily in a comp like this. And I think Christmas would put up Nicole and Cody together. And I like that because I want to see Cody sweat a little bit in this game for the first time. So if that's what happens, please, by all means, Christmas win HOH. And I can't believe that we're at this point where like Tyler is rooting for a Christmas HOH here. But
we know you're rooting for Christmas HOH because you get points in your draft against me, which you don't need. Let Nicole win this so she can have more than 1 point.
What if Nicole won?
The only point that she won the entire thing was
she had 2 points, by the way.
For what?
She survived 2 blocks. Once against David and once against Danny.
Oh, during the triple.
During the triple last week.
Mm-hmm. You're right. Okay.
The block. Who has not touched the block besides Enzo?
Cody.
So Cody and Enzo. Wouldn't it be something if they made it to the final 2 and Memphis hasn't?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I don't think Memphis has either.
That would be amazing if the top 2 had 2 people who never touched the block. Has that ever happened?
Yeah, and I said this, Allison. I said what would even be more fun is that like, you know, it's everybody says like Dan versus Derek, like who's the better player. How cool would it be if like those 2 are in the final 2, like the like Cody to Derek and Memphis to Dan.
I would love it.
I think it would be the most annoying thing in the whole world.
Oh, here we go.
And I have to continue to hear about it. I wish I had my fan with me. I don't. I'm at my parents' house and I forgot a fan. It was really heartbreaking.
I thought you had those damn things on standby everywhere.
I only have 2 fans.
Get you
They're both at home.
And my weekly meltdown fan. I'm gonna make.
Well, believe me, I would love to make merch that is a fan that people could buy.
Yeah.
Well, we have a professional logo. We can make that happen now.
That's true.
Just saying. All right. I think that's pretty much it. I mean, we don't know who won HOH, so we'll see. And honestly, like coming down the stretch of Big Brother, it really is the veto winner that's like the more important comp win, in my opinion. At this point, you're just winning HOH for safety. You really want to be that veto winner so that your vote matters in the end to determine like who goes further in the game with you.
Okay, for the record, We do not know who has won HOH yet because they haven't brought the feeds back. Some people have asked. I'm just answering the question because I got in trouble a couple of weeks ago because I didn't answer the question. So I'm answering the question.
Let's see. Oh yeah. Okay. So I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. Beth, I know you have like a Twitch plug that you want to do. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, no, before what I'm going to try to do from here on out, if it's okay with everybody here, is if you're watching on YouTube and you also have a Twitch, know that we also go live on my Twitch channel. And what I would like to try to do from here on out is right before we end, I want to raid another streamer like I normally would if I was doing any other kind of stream if I was gaming, which basically means we throw our audience over to somebody who's currently live on Twitch, and they get to be exposed to that person. So I'm just going through who's live right now, and there's a really awesome drag artist named Tanzi TV that I think that we will be raiding. So I'm actually going to go ahead and put that raid code in now. But before we do that, why don't we say not hello, but thank you to our patrons, and then at the end of that, I'll throw the raid over.
Yes, so we want to thank our lovely Patreons, Valencia, Tama, Stephen, Rory, Matthew, Luke, Bill, and Andrew. Thank you guys so much for your support. We probably won't be doing like a live feed update show on Wednesday, so maybe we'll do like a patron-only show for you guys, just as like an extra thank you for everything. And if you want to become a patron, go to patreon.com/myweeklymeltdown. You can see all the different tiers and the stuff that you get from there. And of course, we are also on Apple Podcasts and Spotify Podcasts. I always forget to mention that one because I'm Team Apple Music, but definitely check us out there. Give us a review, and of course, like and subscribe us on YouTube as well. And also, I want to hear from you guys, like down in the comments below. Who do you guys think is going home this week? And how do you see the rest of the season shaping out? Because I'm kind of leading towards Allison's prediction at the very beginning of the season, which is I think Memphis is going to win the season. I'm saying it now. It took me a while to get there, but I'm on board the Allison Memphis train. He's a terrible person this season, but like he's played a pretty good game.
We need to go. If I'm right, we need to go to frickin' Vegas and do some gambling.
Yeah.
I'm here for it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just let me blow on your dice. I'll blow your die.
Yeah.
Excellent.
All right. I think that's it. We can end on that note.
All right. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm going to throw the raid over now. So go say hi to Tanzi.
All right, guys. Take care. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
I still hit end, right?
Mm-hmm.
Did you hit end?